This is a response to 2bsirius video called The Conscious Universe. Hi there, Karen. These are ideas I've been fleshing out in some responses I've posted to Corey, Professor Anton, so I'm going to be repeating myself here, but I'm trying to work through these ideas, and I'm using your video as an excuse to do that. But it's to do with, I'm not really in dispute with anything you say. It's my problem with some of this stuff, and it's a problem of interest rather than a problem of dismissal, is to do with the effect of this language. I'm interested in the language. So some bits of it you said, well, the quotation was something like, sorry, I'm reading off the screen down here. The quotation said something like, we see now that mind is not something separate from the universe, but mind is a process, I beg your pardon, mind is not separate from matter, but mind is a process embodied in matter, which is great, you know, and I have no real problem with that, except it sneaks essentialism of mind into the back door. You know, I've been trying to put other words in there to see what happens, and it makes perfect sense if you say a word like cake. You know, we see now that cake is not something separate from matter, but cake is a process embodied in matter. You know what I mean? It's kind of trivially true, and I think it's trivially true for mind as well. But it sounds like it's not trivial when you say it about mind, because we give it an essentialist quality, I think. And then there's a bunch of stuff to do with the stuff of the universe examining itself. You're quoting from the book, quoting from Sagan. A small part of the universe examining itself. That's something, I'm not sure if you said that, whether it was in the thing, which is more true, but again lacks detail. Because when you talk about the universe examining itself, you know, it's not really, it's something, yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff missing out there. But then when you talk about a small part of the universe examining itself, it's more true, but it lacks significant detail. How is it doing that? What are the special properties of that small part? All the really interesting questions, really, captured in that phrase are just glossed over in favour of a kind of feel-good philosophy to do with, I don't know exactly what it's to do with, but it's religious in tone in my view. You know, the interesting stuff about that is what is it particular, what's going on in that small part of the universe that allows it to do that. And we know a large part of what's going on there. They're the biological and neurological and cognitive and psychological processes. That's what's particular about that little part of the universe and its relationship to other parts. And that's where the meat of this stuff lies, and the meat and the potatoes. Small and complex parts of the universe. Yeah, so what I've written here, it elides all the interesting stuff in order to produce poetic effects. And that passage that you read from that book there, and a lot of this stuff really, a lot of the language in this kind of thing, is that kind of slightly breathless, slightly awestruck prose in which we are kind of invited to be, well, to do what Spinoza said you shouldn't do, which is to stand awestruck in front of the universe. No, it's not that kind. It has that kind of pantheism. I don't really want to get into pantheism, but it has that kind of ring to it. You know what I mean? It's a poetic effect. In my view, it's a poetic effect. One thing you say, which I think is absolutely bang on, you say you're talking about a tiny fragment of the universe, namely us, is aware. Yeah, and then you say it's not saying a whole lot. And I think you're right, it's not saying a whole lot, that phrase. You know, of course, yeah, here it is. Here's a fragment of the universe, here. And it seems to be aware, so therefore the universe has some awareness in it, of it, produced through it, whatever, you know. So it's not saying a whole lot. But it's saying it in a way which has very specific effects. That's the thing I'm interested in here. You know, it's saying it in a way which snake oil salesmen will make a lot of cash out of, in which New Age gurus like Andrew Cohen sell books on the back of. And possibly this book. I mean, I don't know this book, but I have to say that's the kind of writing. I know you like it, and maybe it's just a question of personal taste. I find that kind of writing horrible, to be frank. I can just feel myself being manipulated by poetry when I don't really want to. When I want to be manipulated by poetry, I like to choose the poetry. And I don't like that manipulation of this one. I don't want the poetry which kind of forces me to feel sublime about the universe unless I choose it. Particularly when it relies so much interesting detail, you know. I mean, the beauty of a lot of science, and this is Dawkins, isn't it? Poetry is a science of reality. A lot of the beauty of that kind of poetry is about the detail and about not compressing detail in order to produce the poetic, intuitive, poetic effects. but produce different kinds of effects. You know, unweaving the rainbow in order that you can find the beauty of optics, not just saying it's, you know, it's a rainbow arch and we should feel gobsmacked. Anyway, thanks for the video. I'm repeating myself. I'm going to keep repeating myself until I can make it sound coherent. Thanks, Karen.